You're tuned to Once Upon a Fairy Tale. Hey guys, welcome to Once Upon a Fairy Tale, the podcast. I'm very excited to bring you the first ever edition. My name is Dwayne Tan, your host, and this edition happens to be a Disney Dust edition, which means we sprinkle you with some Disney magic. Now, a little bit more about Once Upon a Fairy Tale before we begin. It's a podcast for fairy tale junkies and all things Disney. Because you gotta admit, Disney's sort of dominating the fairy tale industry, or the market at the moment, right? And why are fairy tales important to me? Well, author J.K. Chesterton describes it quite wonderfully, actually. He says its purpose was to take the everyday commonplace world and lift it up and turn it around to show it to us from a different perspective so that once again we see it for the first time and realize how marvelous it is. I personally believe fairy tales and fantasy allow us the ability to make believe, to dream, to dare, to create, all things that make us human. Alright, let's get things started. Our first episode is about upcoming Disney movies, and that includes Pixar movies as well as Marvel movies, but I'll be primarily focusing on the Disney Pixar aspect of things. And I thought there was no better time to do this because D23, the official Disney fan club, just recently held their 4th expo from August 14th to 16th of this year, and they made some very cool announcements, some of which were about their upcoming movies. So I'm here to share that with you. Now obviously there are many movies on the plate, but I'll be talking about the movies that they have planned release dates for. The rest of them we can speculate about later on. Now before we start, I would also like to bring your attention to the Once Upon a Fairy Tale Facebook page, because every time I post a podcast, I'll update the notes section of the page, and there you'll find links that are related to what I talk about here. So for a better experience, you can actually click on the links as you listen to this podcast. Some of it will be pictures, some videos, and the great thing about the podcast is that if you decide to play a video, you can pause the podcast and come right back to it. Are you ready for this? The address is www.facebook.com/onceuponafairytaletime. Once again, it's www.facebook.com/onceuponafairytaletime. Don't forget to include time. I had to do that because someone else got the address for Once Upon a Fairy Tale. So if that someone else happens to be listening to this podcast right now, and if you're feeling really generous, feel free to delete your page and offer the URL to me. Alright, so you'll find information and related links from each podcast in the notes section of the Once Upon a Fairy Tale Time Facebook page. Feel free to also look at what the rest of the page is about, and like the page as well. A lot of things are categorized in the albums section. Alright, let's get things started for real. We are on to Disney animated features. Following Big Hero 6 is the 55th animated feature by Disney. It's called Zootopia. It opens on March 4th, 2016. Disney is selling this film as different to other animal films because unlike other animal films, these animals do not live in the natural world or the human world. They live in a modern world designed by animals for animals. And of course, because there are no humans, these animals naturally talk and walk on 2 feet. At the D23 Expo, it was announced that superstar Shakira will be lending her voice to play the character Gazelle, the biggest pop star in Zootopia. And I believe she plays an antelope. In a taped message, Shakira played a snippet of the original song from the film, and it's called Try Everything. Now, even though there's a song in the film, which there are in most Disney films, this is not one of those films that is a musical, but there is a musical that is coming up, and we'll talk about that shortly. The film also stars Jennifer Goodwin, who plays Snow White from the Once Upon a Time ABC series, and she plays the first bunny ever in the police force that teams up with a scam artist fox, Nick Wilde, who's played by Jason Bateman, to solve the mystery of a missing otter. So a bunny and a fox looking for an otter. Gotta love Disney. This is directed by 3 directors. First on the project was Byron Howard, known for Bolt and Tangled, Richard Moore for Wreck-It Ralph, and Jared Bush. I've come to realize it's very important for me who the directors are because they actually make or break the show. Even if the writers aren't that great, sometimes I think the directors can actually shape the show to make it better and push for a better script. But if you have a bad director, I think that the show, it just goes to pieces. And I've seen that done before. A lot of Disney live action films just didn't really make the cut in my book, and I think it's because of poor direction. We've got 2 more movies that are confirmed for the Disney animated feature lineup. We didn't see any this year, but we get 2 next year. So following Zootopia, we have Moana. There is less accurate information about this movie because it comes out later in the year, but here's what I pieced together. It's a story of a Polynesian princess who sets out to fulfill her ancestors' unfinished quest to find a legendary island in the region of Oceania. She'll be accompanied by 2 sidekicks, her pet pig Pua and Hey Hey the rooster. Initial information released for this movie was that it was not a proper musical. Mark Mancia, who composed the score for Tarzan and Brother Bear, is doing the same for this film. However, recent information seems to suggest that this will be a musical. Lin-Manuel Miranda, known to have written book, music, and lyrics for Broadway musicals In the Heights and Hamilton, recently announced his involvement with this project. So I'm assuming and hoping that this will be a proper musical, since it's also directed by Ron Clements and John Musker, who were also the same team that brought us Aladdin, The Little Mermaid, and The Princess and the Frog, all proper musicals. This film will be in CG, but will involve a new painterly style of CG. No information yet on who's playing Moana, but Dwayne Johnson has been confirmed for the role of the demigod Maui, who joins Moana on her quest. Moana will hit theaters November 23rd, 2016. There is even less information available on the 3rd and last movie that Disney has a confirmed release date on. This will be Disney's 57th animated feature, and this is a definite proper musical. It seems like it'll be a quiet 2017 before Gigantic is released on March 9th, 2018. Gigantic will be Disney's second adaptation of Jack and the Beanstalk, the first being Mickey and the Beanstalk. Set in Spain during the Age of Exploration, Gigantic follows adventure seeker Jack as he discovers a world of giants hidden within the clouds. He meets a 60-foot-tall 11-year-old girl giant who thinks he's a toy. Eventually, he agrees to help her find her way home. Husband and wife team Robert and Kristen Anderson Lopez will be busy again after their successful songwriting for Frozen. They team up with director Nathan Greno, known for Tangled. At the D23 Expo, they previewed a demo of a song from the movie. It's called Little Man, and it's a song sung by Inma, the giant, to Jack. So there we have it, 3 very exciting new movies on the Disney animated feature lineup. You heard it here, and you heard it first on Once Upon a Fairy Tale, the podcast. This is a Disney Dust edition, and I'm Dwayne bringing you the next set of movies from the Pixar lineup. Inside Out was Pixar's most recent release. It hasn't opened in every country yet, so chances are you may not have seen it. Now, I won't be talking about this movie though, because it doesn't really fall under upcoming movies since it's open in the States already. But I must add that if you loved Inside Out and want more, there's good news for you. There will be an animated short that will be released on digital HD on October 13th of this year and on November 3rd for a Blu-ray version. So look out for Riley's First Date coming soon. We're really lucky with Pixar this year. It marks the first time that they will release 2 films in 1 year. On November 25th, The Good Dinosaur will be Pixar's 16th release. It'll also be the first time Pixar is aiming to make environments with a higher level of realism than ever before. So here's the story brief of The Good Dinosaur, and for this I'll be using my cinematic voiceover voice. Alright, you guys ready for this? Here goes. In an alternate reality where Earth was never hit by an asteroid and dinosaurs never became extinct, a young outcast Apatosaurus named Arlo meets another young but human outcast named Spot. This happens after Arlo loses his father in a tragic accident. How was that? Okay. Well, nature features largely as the duo journey through various climate changes. Anna Paquin of True Blood fame voices one of the T-Rex dinosaurs in the movie. Sanjay's Super Team is the short that will accompany this film. It follows the daydream of a young Indian boy, bored with his father's religious meditation, who imagines Hindu gods as superheroes. So this release is coming up really soon on November 25th of this year. Next up, we have Pixar's 17th feature. It's the much-awaited sequel to Finding Nemo called Finding Dory. The characters from the first film will return to this new adventure set a year after the incidents in Finding Nemo. The story will take place along the Californian coastline and will explore the idea of Dory being reunited with her family after she discovers that she might be a witch doctor. I think I read that right. The adventure will include a dip through the Pacific Ocean where ship containers have fallen off boats, a frightening encounter with a giant squid, wading past a kelp forest on California's northern coastline, and new friends in the form of an octopus and a whale shark named Destiny. Finding Dory opens June 17th, 2016. It seems Pixar will hop from one sequel to another. Their 18th feature opens almost exactly a year later, on June 16th, 2017. I think I just said 16, 17, and 18 in one sentence. Coincidentally, my next has a 15 in it. The year 2015 is incidentally Toy Story's 20th anniversary. In any case, Toy Story 4 explores a different genre. It's going to be a love story between Woody and Bo Peep. This takes place 7 years after Toy Story 3, but will not be a continuation of the third film. Pixar president Jim Morris stated that it will be a standalone sequel in a brand new chapter in the Toy Story world. Pixar is really on a roll. I still have a couple more movies to talk about. Their next one is Coco, and it follows a 12-year-old boy named Miguel who sets off a chain of events relating to a century-old mystery. The official story description is that Coco is the celebration of a lifetime where the discovery of a generations-old mystery leads to a most extraordinary and surprising family reunion. Director Lee Unkrich of Toy Story 3 and producer Darla K. Anderson visited Mexico to research the film and the celebrated Mexican holiday Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, which Anderson explains is like a big family reunion that spans the divide between the living and the dead. Coco opens on November 22nd, 2017. I have only one more confirmed release date on the Pixar lineup, and that is the 15th of June, 2018. Many websites are not clear of which movie this will be, but I'm pretty sure and proud to announce that it's going to be Cars 3. This will take place on California's Route 99. In October 2014, John Lasseter revealed at the Tokyo International Film Festival that the film will feature a tribute to Miyazaki's film The Castle of Cagliostro in the form of an old Citroën 2CV. The only other title I have left from Pixar is The Incredibles 2. This was rumored to be released in 2018, but with the Cars 3 movie in place, I'm assuming Incredibles 2 is slated for the summer of 2019. In terms of other Disney films, I'm thinking we might see more from the Disney Planes and Disney Fairies franchise. Even though Planes is a spin-off of the Cars franchise, I want to make it clear that these films are produced by Disney Toon Studios along with the Tinkerbell movies. Planes was commissioned to be a trilogy. So far, 2 films have been released, and there is no information on the third just yet. I personally don't think much of the Planes series. I prefer the Tinkerbell ones. On that front, 6 Tinkerbell movies have been released so far. Also, no information on the 7th, but we'll keep you posted here on Once Upon a Fairy Tale. It can't get more comprehensive than this, and I'm pretty sure because I'm a huge Disney fan, and I haven't found all of this information in one place. I'm having a great time, by the way, putting all of this together and learning so much in the process as well. And I hope you're a big fan and all this news is getting you really excited. If you are a Lion King fan and have been following all the sequels and the Timon and Pumbaa series on the Disney Channel, here's some good news for you. There is going to be yet another movie. How is this possible? Well, it's going to be on the Disney Channel, and it's an hour-long feature that is going to be called The Lion Guard: Return of the Roar. It features Kian, the son of Simba, and Nala. It'll be premiering sometime in November this year on the Disney Channel, and even greater news, the following year on January 3rd, the animated TV series will follow. What I couldn't find was any information on whether or not this series or the movie has new songs, but I'm thinking no. And speaking of animated series, there's yet another series that will premiere. It's this year, very, very soon, September 18th, 2015. What's it about? What is it based on? Well, if you like the movie Descendants, here comes the animated series. Descendants Wicked World premieres September 18th this year. Also, with all these things that I've been talking about, you can check on the Facebook page under Notes, and you'll find links to many of these movies that I've mentioned. Let's not forget that Disney also has a lineup of live-action movies. What? There's more? Yes, indeed. Well, these are going to be more straightforward, so I'm going to go through them much faster because they're just adaptations of movies that have been done before. First up, we have The Jungle Book, which will be released on April 15th, 2016. And just a month later, we'll see Alice Through the Looking Glass. It's the sequel to the Tim Burton-directed 2010 live-action adaptation of Walt Disney's Alice in Wonderland. And this film is set to be released on 27th of May 2016. And then just 2 months later comes the BFG, The Big Friendly Giant. The film stars Mark Rylance, Ruby Barnhill, and Bill Hader, and it's based on the 1982 children's book of the same name by Roald Dahl. The film will be co-produced by Walt Disney Pictures, DreamWorks Pictures, Amblin Entertainment, and Walden Media, and is scheduled to be released July 1st, 2016. It's also the very first Disney movie to have another major studio co-producing with them. This is all happening in 2016, including this next movie, Pete's Dragon, which is a remake of the movie of the same title, first released on November 3rd, 1977, but this time for a release on August 12th, 2016. Disney plans to reinvent the core story, and this will not be a musical. But what will be a musical will be coming the following year, and this is the big anticipated live-action one, an adaptation of Beauty and the Beast. What's really exciting is that director Bill Condon plans to include most of the Alan Menken and Tim Rice songs from the Broadway musical. They also managed to get record-breaking 6-time Tony Award-winning actress Audra McDonald to play the wardrobe. Other stars include Emma Watson as Belle. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Ewan McGregor as Lumiere, Ian McKellen as Cogsworth, Emma Thompson as Mrs. Potts, Kevin Kline as Maurice, and Josh Gad as LeFou. Mark your calendars, this is going to be a big one, scheduled for a March 17th, 2017 release. Phew, so that's the Disney lineup. If you're following the podcast with notes from the Facebook page, you can now see that we have a timeline of all the Disney shows. But just for your benefit, I will also include the Marvel movies so that you get a complete listing of movies up till July 12th, 2019. Specially put together for you right here on Once Upon a Fairy Tale Disney Dust Edition. If you're looking at the complete list of things to come on the lineup, you'll also see that I've included the Tangled TV series, which is mentioned to be released sometime 2017. There's not much known about it just yet, except that Alan Menken and Glenn Slater's names are attached to the project, which means more songs. Also, at the very bottom of the list, you'll see that Disney's 58th feature is planned for November 11, 2018, and this follows Gigantic, of course, but we don't know if it's going to be Frozen 2 or Wreck-It Ralph 2, which are the only two titles which I think might happen. My guess is, of course, Frozen 2. And that's, of course, if the same composer-lyricist team from Gigantic recover fast enough to write for this project. So that is it. And for the benefit of those that aren't referring to the notes on the Facebook page, here's a recap of all the films in chronological order. 2015, Descendants Wicked World, mini-animated series, premieres September 18th. Guardians of the Galaxy, the series, on Disney XD, yes, this is a new one, September 26th. Riley's First Date, the animated short based on the characters of Inside Out, October 13th. The Lion Guard, Return of the Roar, November 2015. The Good Dinosaur, November 25th. Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, December 18th. And that wraps up 2015. On to 2016, Zootopia, March 4th. Jungle Book, April 15th. Captain America, The Civil War, May 6th. Alice Through the Looking Glass, May 27th. Finding Dory, June 17th. The BFG, July 1st. Pete's Dragon, August 12th. Doctor Strange, November 4th. Moana, November 23rd. Rogue One, a Star Wars standalone movie, December 16th. That wraps up 2016. On to 2017. The Tangled series is coming sometime that year. Beauty and the Beast, March 17th. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, May 5th. Star Wars Episode 8, May 26th. Toy Story 4, June 16th. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, July 7th. Spider-Man, July 28th. Thor Ragnarok, November 3rd. Coco, November 22nd. And that wraps up 2017. On to 2018. Gigantic, March 9th. Avengers Infinity War Part 1, May 4th. Untitled Han Solo film, May 25th. Cars 3, 15th June. Black Panther, July 6th. Captain Marvel, November 2nd. Disney's 58th feature, November 11th, and this is the one I'm thinking is Frozen 2 and not Wreck-It Ralph 2. And on to 2019 to wrap things up. The Avengers Infinity War Part 2 is on May 3rd. Inhumans, July 12th. And it is rumored that Star Wars Episode 9 will be released this year as well. Thanks for tuning in to the first ever Once Upon a Fairy Tale podcast. This is a Disney Dust edition. Be sure to tune in for the next edition coming up. We'll be featuring some theater news related to Disney, as well as some games that were announced at the D23 Expo. And I'd like to talk about 2 ABC TV shows that I love watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and also like our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/onceuponafairytaletime. This is Dwayne Tan, and catch you next time.